Welcome back to Readability. If you didn't know already, this is a kid podcast that's all about reading. Don't know a good book to read? Visit Readability and I'll help you out. Every Saturday, I'll either read, review, or recommend different books just for you. Lay back and listen to this week's episode. Let's get started. Hello everyone and welcome back to Readability. I know it's been a real long while since I've been here on Anchor, on Spotify, or wherever else you're listening to this on, and I am super stoked to be back on here, and also I apologize for the long wait. Once school started, it was a really big change to stay on top of this podcast as well as focus on school, especially online, so naturally I just took a break from posting on here. Over that long break, I've read so many more books, 4 series in total, and in today's episode, I'll be introducing and talking about the book that brought me back from my slight reading slump. The book is Cinder by Marissa Meyer. I've read the entire Lunar Chronicles series as well as that extra book, Stars Above, and I am definitely going to review the entire series, so just get ready. Anyways, I guess we should just start the review. Cinder by Marissa Meyer is the beginning of a 4-book series about a sci-fi world in the far, far future. As the title sort of suggests, it's a fairy tale retelling of Cinderella. This continues throughout the series, and I'll reveal them as I review the books. During this time, there's a deadly plague that is overtaking the world, Letumosis, I think that's how you pronounce it, and is one of the main problems of the first book. Our main character, Cinder, is a 16-year-old cyborg mechanic who winds up learning something shocking about her past. Along with learning that, she has to deal with family issues and conflict that pertains to her younger stepsister. It's quite difficult to describe the plot without spoiling much, so I'm going to keep this really short. The author is Marissa Meyer. The book is 390 pages long. The publishing brand is Square Fish. This is the beginning of a quartet series including Scarlet, Cress, and Winter. To rate the book, I gave it a 4 out of 5 stars. As you'll see in my overall thoughts, I think this deserves no less than a 3.5 out of 5 stars. Marissa Meyer's writing is so captivating and fun to read, and I always just got sucked into the world. She creates complex characters and such an amazing plot. Everyone should read this if they get the chance. Okay, let me give some of my overall thoughts on this book. Looking at it, not comparing it to the rest of this series, I think this book was really well done. Was it a little predictable? Maybe sometimes, but other than that, this novel was still amazing in my opinion. I was so interested in the plot of the story, the characters Myers introduced, and the ending was really interesting and sort of left off on a cliffhanger. I'll talk about it later. I also quite enjoyed the fairy tale aspects of the novel, seeing how Meyer would tie in those Cinderella themes in the story. The stepsister/stepmother, the fairy godmother, the prince/the ball. However, compared to the rest of the series, this one is definitely not the best of the best. It kind of falls flat. It has a lot of flaws to it, but I still enjoyed reading it. The only thing that affected my reading experience was Kai's perspective. I love Prince Kai, Emperor Kai as a character as the series goes on, but in this book, I thought his perspective was super boring. It hurts to say, knowing how much I come to adore Kai, but I have to admit it's true. The villain of the story is really interesting, and I won't go into her yet, just you wait. I would also like to say that reading this book about this fictional world having a plague, Letumosis, similar to the virus that we have today, was kind of funny and weird to read. They talked about masks, quarantining, etc., etc. I think there was a line where, and I don't want to spoil much, but Cinder said something, and she said, "Shouldn't you be wearing a mask?" And that line really hit different. Anyways, this book is just so amazing. Maybe not the best of the entire series, but I do think it was a beginning that got me so invested into this series. Let's talk about these characters. Cinder, our main MC. I found her in this first book really interesting to read about. I think Cinder is a really good protagonist to look up to. She's witty, smart, and confident, to put it in simple terms. Also, she's like super cool. She's this gifted mechanic who's also a cyborg, and she has a computer in her head. It's so cool. Sometimes I would forget as I would read the series that Cinder is only 16 years old, and it's quite crazy to think like what she accomplishes at such a young age. Then, at the beginning of the story, we get introduced to Prince Kai, or Emperor Kai. It's funny, I don't think Marissa Meyer ever gave him a last name, so the community just refers to him as Emperor Kai, which is kind of interesting. He's one of my favorite characters, though I didn't really enjoy his perspective in this novel. Him and Cinder have such great chemistry, and just like thinking back to their interactions and knowing what's to come in the future, him and Cinder are also my favorite ship throughout the series. Ugh, I love Kai so much. And I can't forget Iko. Iko? I pronounce it Iko. Sorry if that annoys everyone. She is such a queen and so relatable. I love her so much. Her dialogue throughout the series, and even in this first book, is so iconic and hard to forget. Cinder being her best friend is so heartwarming and makes me so happy to think about. And I want to talk about a specific scene about her, but I'll wait until the more spoilery section. Dr. Erlin gives me such like Chiron vibes from Percy Jackson series. I found him really kind to Cinder and gave her a lot of wisdom that she really should have paid more attention to and listened to. I think some people say that he represents Cinder's fairy godmother. I'm considering to believe that, but we could be wrong. Last one I'll talk about for now is Queen Levana. Oh man, she is a really well-written villain in my opinion. I found her so evil and cruel and hated her so much through the series, especially in winter when we get there. I hated her so much. And I can always appreciate a good character to hate, like Levana. This is the time for spoilers! I'll talk about some scenes and things I really enjoyed, hated, or had really any emotion for. Let's start. When puny Cinder's younger stepsister got letumosis, I was really sad and heartbroken. Puny is that younger sister, lovable character that anyone and everyone can appreciate. She's like the only person that really cared about Cinder throughout her life until... I'm not going to continue that sentence. I really wanted to hope and believe that she would survive until the end. If only. I got really emotional when Puny was declared dead. And she was so close to living, though. So close. And I just knew how this could possibly affect Cinder in her future. And oh boy, it did. The sad thing is, Puny never got to meet Emperor Kai or dance with him. Like that's the only thing she wanted to do. Oh, it hurts so much. Speaking of Kai, Cinder and Kai's first interaction. I think you can tell how much I adore these two. I saw the sparks flying as soon as they interacted. Fun fact, the companion book, Stars Above, we get a preview of Kai's perspective during him and Cinder's first interaction, which I loved so much. It was so short, though, which was kind of sad. My heart was shattered when Aiko's body was sold. Audrey grind my gears. Just like Levana, Audrey is the stepmother to Cinder. And in Cinderella, the stepmother is not a good person, and neither is Audrey. I wish I could say this was the last time. This was my last drop. No, Audrey just gets worse from here. I remember I was in class. Our teacher gave us some time to read. I was reading, and I read the line, "With a dry, grateful sob, she crumpled over her knees, squeezing Aiko's worthless personality chip against her chest." Ooh, I got so sad and mad at the same time. Aiko means so much to me, and just as much to Cinder, and you can tell I was heartbroken. I think I should end this off at the end of the book, when we are told that Cinder is the allegedly dead Prince Princess Celine. Did we kind of see this coming? Maybe, maybe not. However, I was still shocked that my prediction was actually right. I would say this is the kind of cliffhanger. This is kind of a cliffhanger because once we learn this information, once Dr. Erland tells Cinder this, we end the book. Now you're just sitting there thinking, what happens next? Like, what happens? And I would consider that a cliffhanger. The question is, would I recommend? And of course I would recommend the Lunar Chronicles, or Cinder. I recommended it to all my friends right now, and I think it's the ideal age range. However, if you're not in that 12, 14, or young adult age range, I would still say this is still a good series to read, just to escape into this world, meet these characters, and just enjoy these books. And no shame to people who enjoy young adult. I mean, it's not a bad thing. But I do think that this is ideal for teens and maybe some kids my age, like that 11, 12 age. Alrighty, guys, and just like that, that's it for today's episode. I hope you guys are ready for this whole new genre of reading, a whole new season of readability. What should I call it? Readability reimagined? Yes, this is Readability Reimagined. I'm so excited to show everybody what I've been reading recently and what's about to be read soon. I'll see you guys next week for a brand new episode. Have an amazing day and keep reading, folks. Goodbye.